5 minutes because I want to make sure I get my video in. But I wanted to start out, since there's a lot of new faces in the chapter, with a story that I've talked about once before. Some of the numbers may be a little off because this happened a long time ago, but the emotions are still there. So my best friend, Matt, I got started in the business in 2009, and right away it was call your friends, call your family, try to get them to invest with you. So I called my buddy's dad every year for about 4 years, trying to get him to have a meeting with me. It would never happen. He would always say call back in about 6 months. So he worked for On Point Community Credit Union downtown at the Montgomery building. He was pretty high up in his department. He worked on credit analysis, so he ran the department for that, making really good income. They lived in Tualatin, and I called him every 6 months. Hey, it's Jonathan Thomas, Matt's best friend. Why don't you sit down with me? Didn't take me seriously, whatever. He's like, I don't need it. And then one day I thought, I'm gonna ask him about life insurance. So I call him up, trying to get him to come in, not interested, try to throw it in the life insurance aspect. He's like, no, I got it through work, I'm good to go. I said, all right. Well, after 4 years of that, his dad was 57 and ended up with a disease, which he had a big tumor. I forget where it is at this point in time, but he ended up developing a tumor, went through chemo multiple times, about 1.5 years of chemo, and ended up in a position where he passed away. So I remember being at their house the night he passed away. So he was up in the bed. At one point, he was 5'8", maybe 180 pounds. And the night that I saw him, you could see all of his bones because his skin, he had lost so much weight. You could see his skull. Like, it didn't even look like him. It was heartbreaking. So that night he passed away, and his mom stayed at home. She did some daycare, but it wasn't very much income. He was the primary breadwinner. He made $150,000 a year. They lived in a $400,000 home at the time, and when he passed away, her life changed forever because they didn't do the proper planning. All of his money was in his 401k at work. He did have life insurance through work, but guess what? Life insurance only pays if you're working there. He was not working there because he was out because of him being sick, which is why it's important to not have life insurance just through work. So, long story short on that, she ended up having to sell the house. She lives in an apartment. She lives on Social Security. There was about $300,000 in retirement accounts, but my guess is that's dwindled down to nothing at this point because she didn't have enough income to live the same lifestyle. She never invested with me because she was emotionally distraught. She couldn't even handle moving the money. All the money was sitting in cash when he passed away. The fortunate part about the story, two things. One is the mortgage company worked out an agreement for her to live in the house for 18 more months, mortgage free. I don't know how they pulled that one off. It probably had something to do with On Point. The other thing is On Point honored his $150,000 life insurance policy, even though they shouldn't have. But it was because he was high up, well known in the company. They decided that, do I have 4 minutes left? Oh. So since he was high up in the company, they paid out the life insurance even though they technically shouldn't have. So it bought her some time, but she still ended up in the same result because it wasn't enough money. Her Social Security was only $800 a month, and he wasn't even at the point of Social Security yet. So, again, the importance of, or why I do what I do, is to help people change their lives, make sure that they're sitting in the position that they think they're in, and making sure that they, kind of like what Rod said earlier in regards to making sure the life insurance contract matches up with what they want. A lot of people have ideas and set things up a certain way, but they don't think of actually what's going to happen when the time comes. what's the reality of how everything is set up and how is all that going to affect one another. So, not to talk about a sad story, but it's important to make sure that you have a plan in place, you understand what's going on, and not just making sure that you understand, but the person you care about most on the other side also understands where everything's at. Because she knew nothing about the finances, because he did everything. Which, again, put her in a pretty crappy situation. Is she gonna be okay? Of course. People are gonna change and adapt, right? But if she had the opportunity to make that better, I think that's what she would have wanted. Especially when I sat down, because I sat down with her after he passed away. And she goes, I don't want to move out of this house. And I said, you don't have a choice. You're going to run out of money. So, on top of that, it also was a crappy situation for her because she had to sell the house at the wrong time. Because the housing market was still on the rebound. So, with that being said, I wanted to jump into a video with what Waddell Reed is launching, hopefully by the end of second quarter, which is going to make my life easier in regards to financial planning. Because right now I manually enter everything in, and every time we do an update, I have to go back and collect brand new numbers and re-enter it in. So by using technology, is the sound on, Franklin?
You ready to play?
Yep.
Yeah, that's as good as it's gonna get.
Okay.
When you invest everything you've earned into everything you own, there's a piece of you in every number, in every digit. Here's a question. Do you know where everything is and what everything is worth? If you don't, you should. If you want to know, you can. Now you can see everything you own all in one place. Private and secure location where your data is consolidated into one clear picture of you. Your personal website makes getting organized simple. It's easy to connect with all your financial accounts. As the markets change throughout the day, your balances recalculate to keep you up to date. To stay on track, you can create a budget and view your spending habits, monitor cash flow, and see your bottom line at any time. Interactive workshops show how your investment and spending decisions today can impact your lifetime cash flow, affect retirement, and influence your estate scenarios. To review the financial impact of your options, you can collaborate with us online in real time. There's a digital vault where all your important documents can be stored for safekeeping and accessed from anywhere. We provide you with up-to-date data so you can evaluate your options, and with a click, print out reports to see your complete financial picture. We give you the tools to connect with everything you own, so you know what everything is worth, one number at a time. From Wall Street to Main Street, those who know what they have, fare better than those who don't. If you want to know, we can show you how.
So I'm excited about the technology, so it should be coming out here hopefully within the second quarter. Again, Johnathon, Waddell Reed, Comprehensive Financial Planning.